Well, the Supreme Court will tomorrow render the much-awaited decision on the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020, also known as the Building Bridges Initiative, BBI. The judgment will mark the end of a 2-year fierce battle between a group led by President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga, the proponents of the handshake, and another group of opposed to the constitutional changes. Now, depending on the decision by the judges, that could potentially change the country's political landscape. With that in mind, also the outcome of the election will also be affected. TV47 will bring you the events as they unfold at the Supreme Court live, and our journalists will later on dissect the judgment to tell you the untold details about it. That, of course, is tomorrow. But tonight,
and actually, I intend to call the Supreme Court before as a witness, because until now, the orders to open the servers were never complied with.
I will spill the beans. Moses Kuria now says he will tell Kenyans the truth, the lies, and everything about 2017 election rigging claims.
Na wajamaa wawili wamejeruhiwa vibaya, watatu wameweza kuaga kutokana na hayo mashambulizi ya leo asubuhi.
3 people dead in Baringo County following a bandit attack. Several others continue to flee the area for fear of more attacks.
Requesting NMS to help in the eviction.
Hundreds of Nairobi residents to be left homeless following looming demolitions.
Through a multi-agency operation, they decided to remove the individuals that have encroached that parcel of land.
The Nairobi Metropolitan Services issues demolition notice to Langata, Mathare, Huruma, and Kiamaiko residents. Good evening, my name is Eric Muneni. Our sign language interpreter is Anne Wairimo. We begin. 4 people have been killed and 2 others sustained gunshot injuries in a fresh bandit attack in Mochungoi area, Baringo County. And as Boniface Baraza reports, the attacks bring to 13 the number of people killed in less than a month in the area.
It is believed that the 4 were among 20 others patrolling the Mochongoi area today morning, following the deteriorating security situation in the area when they were ambushed by the assailants who have been carrying out frequent attacks in Kerio Valley. The 4 were shot dead on the spot, while 2 others sustained gunshot wounds and are recuperating at Baringo Hospital.
On a patrol, when they were trying to look after the area the way it was in as far as insecurity is concerned, na wajamaa wawili wamejeruhiwa vibaya, watatu wameweza kuaga kutokana na hayo mashambulizi ya leo asubuhi.
Tuliweza kupokea casualties wawili. Hawa casualties walikuwa na majeraha ya risasi. Mwingine alipigwa mgongo, side ya mgongo, mwingine akaumizwa mkono. So now we've brought them for further management.
Paul Kipiamet was among the victims, said that after the incident, the bandits fled to the bush, with locals demanding that authorities step up their efforts to end the killings and ensure adequate security in the area.
This is too painful. It was on recently that we buried 7. Today we are now heading to another. How painful is it, Mr. President and the entire leadership of this country nation? It is all about state machinery. Ndio inafaa katika hiyo area mkitaka maisha ya hii watu waweze kubaki. Kwani hao bado ni bandits kweli ama ni terror group?
We want the president as a commander in chief of the armed forces to take charge, stand up from the crowd.
Thank you.
Do your job. We shall applaud you one day, the president. We shall say, when you are the president of this country, you did something for Baringo. Baringo, we are crying.
Baringo County Commissioner Abdrazak Jaldesa has confirmed the incident, although he has denied reports of killings, despite the bodies of the 3 being identified by locals.
Wacha niseme ya kwamba as we are talking now, ni watu 3 walijeruhiwa. Those are injuries. Na wamepelekwa hospital. I cannot as of now confirm any fatalities.
The killings have brought the total number of those killed in less than a month to 13 people.
Manyumba iko ngambo ile. Hata wewe ukiona mambo ile manyumba iko huko. Kila kitu iko huko. Sasa tukiwacha huko, si askari tungewewa alafu hata
Lamaiwe, Sinoni, Kasiela, Toyotich, and Arabal residents continue to flee their area for fear of their lives. Bonfas Barasa, TV47.
Now, the Supreme Court will tomorrow render the much-awaited decision on the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020, also known as the Building Bridges Initiative. The judgment will end the 2-year fierce battle between a group led by President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, proponents of the handshake, and another group that is opposed to the constitutional amendments. Have a look.
The 7-judge bench of the Supreme Court is now set to issue a judgment on the BBI appeal on Thursday.
The judge under the Constitution 2010 is a lion or lioness. Go ye forth and roar. Roar. Let every corner of this country hear the roar from this court.
The 7 judges, led by Chief Justice Martha Koome, her deputy Philomena Mwilu, Justices Isaac Lenaola, William Ouko, Njoki Ndongo, Smokin Wanjala, and Mohamed Ibrahim are expected to explain the basic structure doctrine to determine whether the Constitution is subject to an implied limitation on the power of amendment of any of its provisions. On the bill, the Apex Court will be also required to give a judgment on Judiciary Ombudsman, who shall be appointed by the President in the scenario where the BBI bill is okayed. Previously, the lawyers opposing the appeal by the proponents of the bill called on the Supreme Court judges to issue a decision on the Constitution amendment process.
If any amendment or any proposed amendment is against the supremacy of the Constitution, the supremacy of the Almighty God, that amendment must be struck out.
Lawyers who represent President Kenyatta, Attorney General, and IEBC, who are the main appellants of the case, urged the Apex Court to quash the ruling of the lower courts, insisting the President had a right to initiate the popular initiative.
We appreciate that the Constitution is not cast in stone. Today we have a power. That power is well clarified.
Joash Onsare, TV47, Nairobi.
Well, time now for a very short break. That story there by our very own Joash Onsare, a political editor, brings us to the fast breather of this program. Don't go away. We'll come back with more.
You are watching It does not define them, neither does it limit them.
I want to start creating awareness and empowering people with epilepsy.
See the deaf understand themselves better.
In a world which is arranged with the disabled person in mind, the world is good for everyone.
Catch this inspiring stories every Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
Coming up with a business idea is easy. Starting the business and keeping it running is where the hurdle is.
Yes, each month comes with its own challenges, but you just have to keep being aggressive. Don't give up.
But there are those who, even with a number of challenges, have been able to keep their grind running. From the beauty industry to the entertainment industry and even new age marketing. Join me, Violet Njoki, as I take you on a journey of the grind every Monday at 7:30 p.m.
The soil has a story. That is why every week we go in search of different stories from the farm, from fruits, vegetables, and even animals. We talk to different farmers.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Now, a case in which Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria is accused of issuing sensational remarks about the 2017 election, in which he claimed the elections were rigged in favor of President Uhuru Kenyatta, will now proceed to a full hearing before the IEBC committee. IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati, in a ruling, said the matter is legally before the committee, dismissing preliminary objections raised by the defense team. And as Mike Kagongo now tells us, the controversial legislator has threatened to drag the Supreme Court into the case.
After being summoned by IEBC to appear before the committee's Code of Conduct, Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria arrived at the Commission's headquarters at 10 a.m. Wednesday, ready for his case. Kuria was summoned by the Commission's Electoral Code of Conduct Enforcement Committee following remarks he made on March 15th, suggesting that the 2013 and 2017 general elections was rigged in favor of President Uhuru Kenyatta.
The committee is not bound, and this is important, is not bound by strict provisions of the Criminal Procedure Code, Cap 75.
Your statement casts aspersions on the integrity of the general election 2017, specifically that the voting system developed by the Commission is not secure and falls foul of the requirement of Article 86.
Through his lawyer Ntegwa Wahome, he cited the case where Muranga woman representative Samina Shege had a similar matter before IEBC but moved to court to challenge its jurisdiction. Wahome pointed out that the committee should down its tools until the matter before the court is fully heard and determined.
And therefore that we have raised this question of jurisdiction and that it is an issue that is actively in court for decision on the jurisdiction of this committee. We only think that it is prudent that this committee downs its tools at this point until the court, High Court renders itself on the issue.
The law is very clear. Serve the respondent himself or an adult member of his family.
Is that it would send a message to someone who would be served by this commission on any matter, given that we are getting into petitions and all that they can expect that someone, even your shopkeeper, can be served on your behalf.
IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati, in a ruling, said the matter is legally before the committee, dismissing preliminary objections raised by the defense team.
The Electoral Code of Conduct Enforcement Committee thus has jurisdiction and is legally seized of the matter before it for hearing and determination. The committee therefore makes the following orders. 1. The preliminary objection raised by the counsel for the respondent on the 30th March 2022 is hereby dismissed, and this matter shall proceed to full hearing.
The lawmaker who objected to the full hearing, now scheduled for April 7, 2022, defended himself against accusation of wrongdoing following his vote rigging claims. Kuria is now threatening to drag the Supreme Court into the case after the electoral agency resolved to slot the matter for a full hearing.
I am not the one who impugned the 2017 general election. It is the Supreme Court. And actually, I intend to call the Supreme Court before as a witness. Because until now, the orders to open the servers were never complied with. So before even, this I think is a wonderful opportunity, Kenyans. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to audit so that we don't plunge this country into another crisis and another chaos. It's a wonderful, massive opportunity for us to be able to audit what happened after the Supreme Court ruling.
In a similar case that bounds Muranga County woman representative Sabina Shege, Chebukati stated that the MP was wrong in her utterances, saying all persons bound by the Code of Conduct should reassure voters of impartiality of the Commission and secrecy of the ballot. Through IEBC, ICT boss Professor Abdi Guliye, the Electoral Commission blamed the courts for delaying its execution of justice on on politicians who have claimed there was vote rigging and other irregularities in the 2017 general election.
According to the Commission's Code of Conduct that governs the elections, the court order gives an avenue for anyone who makes such utterances to have a room where they can run to and run away from the culpability of these offenses. Mike Kagwango, TV 47, IEBC headquarters at the Anniversary Towers, Nairobi.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i has today assured Interpol of continued collaboration aimed at enhancing regional cooperation and border management within African countries to facilitate developments in the continent. Paul Muniu tells us more.
We should also develop strategies to...
Speaking during a meeting with Interpol and Afripol officials in Nairobi, Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i expressed his concerns over the border crisis that African countries continue to grapple, saying this has slowed down the continent's economy.
Africa is increasingly coming under the threat of terrorism and religious extremism. Our nations are nursing the ripple effect of traditional geopolitical leanings and international disputes, including the war in Ukraine.
Matiang'i urged chief security officers to engage on best practice that focus on regional and institutional cooperation, while at the same time guaranteeing a collaboration with the Interpol.
I pledge on behalf of the government and the people of Kenya that we will be worth partners, committed, focused, and will remain disciplined in working together with others to strengthen the security, not just of our country, but the security of our region. We will do our part to ensure that Afripol and Interpol succeed in all its efforts.
Also in attendance was Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai, who reiterated on the need to resolve and curb issues that pose as a threat to continental peace.
Let us strive to build lasting partnerships and cooperative engagement that we could build on to move continental policing forward. This is because we are currently faced with the unprecedented security and crime threats and attendant challenges, including transnational organized crime, high-level corruption networks, money laundering, and terrorism, amongst others.
The Interpol President Ahmed Nassil also highlighted on the organization mandates while pointing out his achievements since he became the Interpol's president.
The two organizations have sought opportunities to cooperate and coordinate the activities for the benefit of all members' countries. I would like the Executive Committee, which I lead, to make a positive impact by improving governance, building capabilities, ensuring improved information performance measures, and bringing more transparency to the organization activity.
All these act as efforts that the Kenyan government is committing to in order to build strong networks that better respond to emerging security threats in the country. Paul Muniu, TV 47.
Now moving on, the government is grappling with a huge number of pupils who have applied to be placed in specific secondary schools in the 4-month selection exercise currently underway. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha says that this is a big challenge, bearing in mind the schools have limited spaces. However, the Education CES says that they will use affirmative action to ensure that the process is fair to all learners. Here is our senior education reporter Sharon Baranga with the story.
A day after the government released the 2021 KCPE results, a section of learners and their parents have jitters over the secondary schools that will be selected to join. They are concerned over missing out on the specific schools they are hoping to join. As a result, the Education CS has assured learners that they will use affirmative action to ensure there is fairness in the selection.
Every child is safe in Magoha's hands. But Kenya is a rainbow country, and we want to be sure that there's a child from Marsabit at Kenya High School, there's a child from Nyeri in Kenya High School, there's a child from Mombasa here in Kenya High School. That's why they are called national schools. And we do this without apology to anybody, because it is fair and just.
One of the challenges government officials are facing is the huge number of pupils who applied to be placed in specific schools that have a limited capacity.
That everybody will want to go to Alliance. Every Alliance has maybe 500 slots. Everybody will want to go to Kenya High with another 500 slots. Maybe another 500 for Pangani and what have you. And yet we have close to 12,000 children with over 400. So we have to ensure that there's affirmative action which takes into account the geographical distribution of this country. And just to tell you that children from the northern region must also be represented in all areas of national schools.
Private school owners have been urged to invest in the construction of more secondary schools to help ease the pressure mounted on public secondary schools.
They should not only look for the profit margin. Why they have refused to create secondary schools, none of you has asked me about that question. They only create private schools, then these same private schools will now go to government institutions. If government institutions are poor in primary, well, how about secondary? So I want to encourage them to kindly, especially now that we are going to CBC, to create standalone junior secondary schools that will help us to reduce the pressure.
The 2021 primary school graduates will get to know the secondary schools they will be joining after 2 weeks. The process of Form 1 selection is already ongoing.
There are obnoxious application figures. You'll find for Pangani with 500, there are 145,000. How will you do it? You can't do it. I mean, our people don't think. And then what is worse, somebody will put Pangani, then put Kenya High School, then put another third one. So it's like he has lost all the opportunities. Because you are supposed to get a national school, an extra county school. But if you take all the top schools,
but you know people will interfere with the president.
Look at me. Well, look at me. Look at me very well. Will you try?
Elsewhere at Maragals Center in Narok County, it was a moment of celebration as the girls who were rescued from early marriages and female genital mutilation managed to score a mean grade of 393. And in Kitui County, learners from Success New Life Center celebrated their exemplary performance in KCPE. Out of 17 candidates, 15 scored 300 marks and above. Among